Got it.
I'm on now. This has been a a bit of a stress this morning for the last day of the week, but okay, we're here and people are here. Good, good. And you can see what I've written. Oh, well, all is good at the end. So I won't stay long. Thank you all for being here, and I'm just, just appreciative that everything is in its right place. Just to speak a little about Dana, because this, as Martin would say, this is Friday, so it's Dana Drum Day. I will let you have the link for the Dana. We don't have a Dana button here, so wherever you can give is duly appreciated, because it's the only way we can keep on freely offering all these sessions and everything. Please connect in Sangha Life Connect through this platform and see what's happening. See the next book and club next Saturday. I think it's tomorrow with Deborah Ebenthal. And keep on enjoying our sessions and forgiving us for all the tech mistakes and all the wobbling things. But hey, here we are. So thank you all for this week, for your presence, for your practice, for your generosity, for your perseverance, everything. And you are very, very warmly welcome. And yeah, thank you. So enjoy the session and have a nice, very beautiful weekend. Catherine.
Hi, thanks, George. Thank you so much, George. George got kicked off the call somehow at some point and had to find his way back into us. Good morning, everyone. Hi, I just want to let you know that I don't see the chat at all. So I'm not seeing what's coming in. I don't know, George, if that can be, it'd be lovely to be able to read the comments, if that's at all possible. And while he's working on that, let's summarize. I want to answer some questions from yesterday and take us into our last practice. So good morning. I hope you're well this morning. I want to let you know, in case you were here yesterday, that I found out later in the day that I was in a little bit of a drug haze yesterday morning, and I had taken too much antihistamine in the previous night, and I only realized later in the day, after reading the instructions on the packet, I very rarely take it, but I had a big allergy reaction in the night. So my apologies if you felt any of the knock-on of that during my teaching yesterday. Yeah. So dear Sangha, your body, Buddha's body. I've taken us through some ways of thinking about the body, conceiving, approaching, engaging the body, to let the body be at the center of our practice. I've asked us to entertain the idea of body as intelligent partner in the practice, as the seat of awakening, as an outcropping of nature. I'd love to ask you in the chat, but I can't see it. How did it go yesterday in your local town, if you remembered to see our body and other bodies in that way? What's the effect? Wisdom always wants to know, what's the effect of my way of relating right now? Yeah. So somebody asked 2 days ago, what have I learned from doing this practice? And I'll just be very, very brief to answer that question. One is to let the body be center of practice. It's not easy for many of us. Some of us will try it in the beginning and then ping away because it just feels too fraught or difficult. We see the pressures it puts us under. So what I've learned is to become much, much more intimate with the here and now of my body, of this body. And what that has opened up are a number of things. One is that as we come closer to the body, as we stay steady and breathe in and out with the body, as we relate to the body well, then one thing that happens is our whole emotional world comes online a whole lot more. So the whole realm of emotional sensitivity and richness is also part of what is gained through this practice. And what that will take us through is the emotional residues, those things that come up for healing in our practice, those places where we weren't able to be with our emotions. And we had to squeeze and tighten and disembody, for example, or come up to our head, or distract or abstract. And those places come for healing, and that work is very, very possible here in the practice. Sometimes it needs other supports, but what it allows for us is the richness of participating a whole lot more. I will add then that what I have learned is that this body can be an arena for steadying, for gathering all the attention that might be up in the thoughts or distracted in other things, that attention gathers and becomes a rich, harmonized seat of well-being. Doesn't mean that it's pleasurable all the time. It means that it's a foundation, a basis, a home base. And there's more there, but that's a beautiful outcome of this practice. And fourthly, I would say that when the body is really available for insights that go beyond the body, but are through and with the body, then our insight is rooted. It can be embodied, it can be lived, it can be brought into relationship. Many of us have insights, but if the body isn't available fully, thoroughly for this, the insight can sadly remain abstract and not lived. Okay, so I'll answer a couple of questions that I didn't get to yesterday. They came in at the end and they're really nice questions. So, I mean, they're all really nice questions. So one is from Liz. Again, I sadly can't see the chat this morning. So Liz, I don't know if you're there. Thank you so much for the question. Liz said, thank you. I have never thought to ask my body how it would like to breathe and wait patiently. And then she says, I wonder if there is a way of applying the question to other bodily sensations. For example, I experience chronic pain and fatigue. I'm not sure how I can ask my body what it would like without then thinking about it. Yeah, so she says more. It's a really, really important question. So a couple of things I'll say to that, Liz. I reflected a little bit on it this morning, so I have a couple of notes here. So yes, you can apply a question to working with physical pain, fatigue, unwanted experience that may be arising, that may be hard to bear in the body. What you're saying points to an important principle, is that in asking a question, it's not just the words, right? What a question does is invites a relationship. And if a question is a real question, if you imagine asking it to someone else, a real question is one that's really open to response. Yeah. With pain and discomfort, it's hard to be in a relationship of allowing, of kindness, and without aversion. So what we might find is that our questions come, but we're kind of fraught and tense, and we're still trying to push the pain away, or we want to ask a question that will make it all go away. So when I was thinking about this, what breath is to breathing, unpleasant sensation is to pain. So a question could be sincerely asking, let's say I've got pain in my shoulder. Let's say that I'm sensing my body. There's a breath. And I ask, how would you, to this part of my body, how would you like to express yourself right now? In a way, I'm making room. I'm opening the door for that painful sensation to be really known, to be really felt. And I'm not just doing it from coming up really, really close and putting it under pressure. I'm giving it room. So we get interested in the relationship. What does that do to the sense of myself and the pain when I ask and let and allow, radically allow that sensation to express itself? Yeah. Another thing, another way of using a language there that doesn't just take you into your head could be to ask, please show me to the pain. Please show me how I could be with you with more kindness. Because what we might find with pain is, and typically, is that it's not that easy. And we can't just pretend I'm in good relationship with it. So I might express as an intention, as I might to someone, or might in a process of learning how to forgive, and I'm not there yet, or learning how to be with, and I'm not there yet. When I'm working with my own heart and mind with that, I might say, please show me I'm in the direction I want to learn how to be with you with wisdom and kindness. And sense the effect of sincerely expressing that intention. And Clive's question, thanks Clive. Being in relationship with my body, there are truly beautiful aspects of this for which I'm very grateful. But what also rose for me this morning was a sense of guilt and shame for what my body has done in this life. Are you able to help with this? Yes, thanks Clive. Thanks for the honesty and the humanness in this very, 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 very normal kind of ouch of being human. So yes, firstly, it's really normal. As I said earlier, as we come more into the body, the residues of what we were not yet able to digest, to be with, to move with, to learn from, will come up and we'll feel them in the body. So what you can think of, a helpful way of thinking about this, excuse me, is, can I feel the pain and the regret here in the body? If I can, then there's a way we can work with it in the body. If what happens is that I'm with the body and then it's like, oh God, shit, I did that thing, right? And we're really in the story of it, we may need something else, and I'll offer the two somethings. So number one, if I can sense this in the body, it's really normal, it's painful. If I can sense it in the body means, can I sense, oh, where is it? Ouch, is a kind of it's like a sharp kind of ache right through the center of my heart right now. Okay, can I be with it? What does that mean? That means, can I breathe with it? Can I sense the sensations without collapsing onto them? Or without moving so far away from them? Can I find a wise relationship with this ouch, this pain, or this heaviness, or this grief, or this regret, that allows those sensations to be allowed, felt, breathed with, and allowed to move? And as they move, it doesn't mean it gets nice right away. As they move, they may kind of go deeper. There may be tears, there may be hurt, there may be pain. But that we have room. It's not who we are. We don't make that the basis for being good or bad. Right? And then regret is natural and helpful and healthy. And I see you didn't use the word regret, but I'm offering that pathway there. Yeah. If what happens, and this also happens, is like it moves into the bad and wrong, I'm bad and wrong, or we're in the story of the history, then we need to stop and say, oh my love, got you, I've got you. Come, put a hand on the heart, a hand on the belly. As soon as we are making a self out of what I did in the past. This is Mara. Mara is delusion, right? So we want to pause, we want to interrupt that. And there's a number of ways to interrupt that. So Myanmar is the personification of delusion. And there's a really big difference than the healthy regret for which we can work with, and where I make my identity who I was in the past, who I shouldn't have been, who I ought to be, who I would be if I was better. There's a lovely sutta from the Buddha where he kind of gives all those examples of leaning on who I think I was, who I should be, delusion. When we're doing that, stop. And one thing that can be, and I have found really helpful there, is a forgiveness practice. So we can engage the heart when we go into bad and wrong. And I'm not speaking with you, Clive, so I'm not sure if that's where you went, but I think many of us will know that. When I go into bad and wrong, we're not really with the heart anymore. And to engage the heart, the resonances of the emotional sensitivity, I can open to a forgiveness practice. And if you like, you can ask a question and I can give a brief run of it at the end, but it's something like, for the ways I may have hurt or harmed you, whether that's myself or another, for the ways I may have hurt or harmed you through the actions of my body, my speech, and my mind. I ask now for your forgiveness. And we wait for the response in the body, through the body, with that body including the emotional sensitivity. So I'm happy to go further with that, if that would be helpful, Clive, or anyone else, when we get to the questions at the end. So I'll guide us in with our last approach to the body, and just want to check once more with George. Is there anything I can do to see the chat, George?
Yes, I was about to ask you that. Catherine, can you see at the bottom of the screen, do you have the menu on the right side? You have the people with the numbers, and then you have a little screen.
I have the chat screen, yeah.
Click on that chat screen, please.
Yeah. I'm on the chat screen. And it's empty.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if others can see the chat. Can you see the chat screen, Clive?
I think everyone can see. Everyone has been writing, so everyone can see the chat screen.
Apart
That's
from
very
me.
special. Apart from you.
Okay, well, we'll give it a minute. If I can't, we'll have to do the empty chat screen teaching.
Yeah, I will have to read the questions to you or something.
Okay, we'll do it that way. Oh, so sorry. So I have to use my body's imagination a whole lot more to feel us all out there without seeing your words.
Well, Clive is writing, mindful that Catherine can't see the chat. Please let her know. Thank you from me from a wonderful response. Yes, he can see the chat.
Okay, glad you're here.
Okay.
All right. Super. So my thought for today is, let's go to the theme of your body, Buddha's body. And a lot we could say about a Buddha's body. But I want to give a couple of reflections. So let's first think about the historical Buddha. I'm using the term wider than that, but let's first think about the historical Buddha. And he had a cousin called Ananda, who was also a monk. I think he was his cousin. And Ananda loved the Buddha. Ananda really loved the Buddha. He was so utterly devoted to this while he was alive, this being who he knew through this body. And he cared for the Buddha's body. He was devoted to the Buddha, and which includes the body, and saw in that being not only a radiance, but a capacity to transmit, and not only transmit through his presence, but also articulate pathway that led and leads to the end of suffering. So if you like, if you're this kind of, if you have any sympathy with Ananda here, that kind of devotional, loving, like, oh, my teacher, gosh, I love you, then you can imagine, if you like, this is for one style of people, these who like to imagine in this way, you can imagine being related to in that way. Imagine you are also Ananda, relating to this body. What would it be to love and be so devoted that this can be and is right here and now, can be known as an unhindered, unbound, untangled arising of nature that is freed from the tangles that bind us. And that really can be known. There's work for us in the path in horizontal time, over time, absolutely. And there's a realization that can be known here and now. So where I will take us now this morning is borrowed from the Zen tradition, where you sometimes hear them say, when you come to sit, they say, let your posture, let your body sit as a Buddha. Let your body express awakening here and now, right? It's not only like, okay, I've got to be with my body and later on I'll be awakened. No, right here and now, sit into the posture of the Buddha. And the way I'll guide us in this morning is to ask us to consider our heart, right? So I'm gesturing to the chest, this where we can be so tangled, the mind can sort of be spinning, and when the mind is spinning, the heart is usually either kind of completely locked or on fire in not a very helpful way. So I'm going to invite us to the heart, and I'm going to invite us to consider a poise for the heart, a poise that is translated in the tradition as perfectly single. Perfectly single means you are utterly within your own embodiment, not leaning too far out to the world, not leaning too far in that you disappear into the sheds and the garages of your heart, not leaning too far up in abstraction and disappearing from the material world, and not leaning too far down, kind of bogged down in the sensation, believing, gripping, taking sensation as who I am. And we'll play with that poise, and from that poise, you don't have to get it right. We're playing, let it be an experiment. Let us take it from Ananda of what he could see. Let us take it from the Zen tradition of what they encourage. And if you like, look at Kuan Yin behind me. You can see her. This poise of royal ease doesn't mean she had no pain. There is an ease that can be here with the pleasure and the pain without defining ourselves by it, without taking it to be me or mine. And then the Buddha, their perfect singleness, as they also say in the Zen tradition. I'll say that in a moment. Let me guide you in, and then I'll leave us with that question. So when I leave you in the silence, I'll invite the question we've been using this week. And remember, it's not just the words, it's the art of asking, of humbly, sincerely, beautifully, sometimes close in, sometimes far out. Okay, dear Sangha, let us take our seat. Let us imagine the Buddha's body isn't other than this body that's yours, the one that is getting older, hurts, is also an extraordinary instrument for kindness, for wisdom. Okay, so let your seat be upright and gentle. Let the jaw be soft. Play with the idea of a posture of royal ease. Dignified, not in a hurry, and yet taking a seat that could be a throne. That reminds us of a sacred posture that can hear the cries of the world, can respond, but does not for one moment lose their roots. Let the hands be soft. Imagining your hands tracing a line right back through the soft inner arm to your heart. That we will invite the heart to take her seat of royal ease. Breathing out. And breathing in. And imagine with me, if you will, that the heart, your chest, that sensitivity that is there, whether or not right now it is numb and hard or twisted or tight, it's okay. Imagine that heart is allowed to sit on the royal cushion. Placed beautifully. Not leaning too far out into the world. Not leaning so far in that we disappear. Not having to rise up to abstract and think about and do our life from a control room on high. Bringing that down to the heart. Letting the mind rest into the royal cushion. And breathe. Letting your weight be felt on the seat. You are here. You are here. And if you like to imagine Ananda tending to the beloved's body, tending to his in-breath and his out-breath. Tending to his whole presence. tending in the way that a new parent might, as they stood at the door of the room where their new infant lies in the cot. And if they were not anxious, but staring, sensing in marvel as this creature, this new creature breathes in, they marvel. As this new baby breathes out, they look upon her or him or them as a miracle. And from this approach, very lightly, with this kind of respect, and how might you like to breathe right now, my love? Waiting for the response. So just before I ring the bell, when I do, imagine as you start to open your eyes that you can see from deep, deep, deep within the body. What might it be like to open your eyes and see from the seat of royal ease? How do the eyes of royal ease look out upon the world? And let the eyes come last. Stay really close to body, to heart. You can even imagine, if it's helpful, the seat of royal ease, the heart resting on the royal pillow. And from here, open the eyes to let the colors and the textures and the forms come to you. If for any reason seeing is not your main sense and it's hearing more, as you open your ears, let the sounds come to you without you going anywhere. Thank you for your practice, Sangha. So this is our last little bit of time together. I'd really love to hear from you, and there may be nothing else for it but for you to come on screen because I can't see the chat. Unless George has another way, but it would be really nice to see one or two of you if you have a question and are willing to come.
Yeah, I think, let me put my screen to have that.
And also your comments are really welcome. You know, George will send them to me after, or I'll ask him to.
If anyone wants to come on screen and ask questions, please.
You could consider it as an act of generosity for us.
And there was someone raising the hand, so I will bring around. And any questions that come through, I'll try to read them to you.
Great. So I think it's Francis, but Silkstone 135 raised their hand. Are they coming on? You coming on? Is that Francis?
I'm invited.
Great. As we're waiting for the others, waiting for the questions, you know, you might consider if there's been anything this week that you would like to continue with, one idea, one thing that was salient for you that you want to kind of make a note of. This would be really, really helpful. Hi, Francis. You're going to come on? Good to see you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you. Yep. Sorry, I wasn't aware my picture was going to appear. So I have a very simple question, Catherine, which is: please, would you do this for us again for another 5 days, as soon as possible, please? It's been so wonderful. And the other thing to say is just to thank you so much. You know.
Oh, that's so sweet. You know, it's really interesting that you come on and ask me that about whether I would come. It has more of an impact. So I can't say yes or no at this point, but I really hear and feel your wish for that, and it informs me, and I will respond soon to George and the invitation. Thank you. Yeah.
And thank you, Catherine, so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Yeah. That's so sweet.
And thanks, everybody. Thanks to the whole Sangha, especially to the BDS Sangha, without whom I would not be here. You know, it came through our WhatsApp group.
Right.
So love to everybody.
So for those of you, just give you the coordinates. So there's a camp every year called the Buddha Dharma Sangha Camp, outdoors, here in Dartmoor, near where I live. And I've been teaching that for, I think, like 20 years or something. And there's a group of you here who are here from that camp. So lovely that you joined us. Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? I'm working with sitting deeply into not being able to see what you're writing and missing that, actually. Really missing that. Ah, looks like Ines. Hello, Ines.
Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with you and everyone else my experience of the sit this morning, which was quite sort of profound, really. It was in particular the moment where you talked about a mother looking at their child in the cot, and it brought back a memory, really. Just to give a bit of context, my mother grew up in the Second World War and had a very, very traumatic childhood. Separated a lot from her own mother, and when she married my father, he died. Well, he was like her sort of savior in life, and then he died very suddenly when my elder brother was 3 and I was 1, and she kind of collapsed, and I think she chose to marry our stepfather very quickly, only 5 months after my father died, because she wasn't capable of looking after us. She wanted to commit suicide. So the image of her looking at me in a cot wasn't one of being able to nurture me or have wonderment towards me. It was one of real distress.
Yeah.
And so as I was doing the meditation, this distress obviously arose in me. And but then you said, ask the question, how would you like to breathe right now, my love? And I was crying and holding my heart, and then that sense of royal ease kicked in, and I just was able to have this kind of objective sense of holding myself as that child, where my mother couldn't. And my sobbing stopped. My whole body just calmed down. My breathing calmed down. And I returned to that sense of royal ease.
Okay, I'm just going to ask, Chris, can you mute? Ines, thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Ines, I'm getting feedback from another source, so I want to take a moment with you. Is there something you can do with that? Great, thanks, George or Chris. Great. Ines, yeah, thank you so much. Just breathe with that for a moment. That's sounds like a really important movement in your chitta, in your heart and soul there. Yeah, thank you. And I'm really glad for you. And what I'm gonna just offer so that those listening can hear, it's like that makes a lot of sense. That as you know, you've done a lot of practice, that comes forth some residue of distress, but you don't become it. It's kind of caught this time. It's caught. So it's not disallowed, but it's not who you become. It gets caught in the Dhamma. It gets caught in the stream of Dhamma. and woven in, and that's part of the healing. Yeah, that's kind of what we could say blessing, actually. Yeah, thank you so
and
much.
I want to thank you as the blessing in my life, as such an important teacher to me through the Buddha Dharma Sangha camp and the Sangha of the BDS and all my teachers and your wonderful husband Yanai as well.
Thank you, Ines.
Thank you.
I'm really, really glad you're here. Thank you. Yeah. Bless you. Was there another? Chris, are you here to ask a question or share something? Chris Perrin.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Chris.
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
Thank you. And I'm sorry if I may be interrupted.
Don't worry about it. It's sorted.
Good. So yes, I just wanted to say, big heartfelt thanks. And for me, this week, and something I hope to take forward, has been this question actually. How would you like to breathe? And I felt it's brought me into much more intimate, easeful kind of relationship with the body, rather than it being a real effortful thing to focus on the body. It's been more like a relationship, like as if you're asking someone a question and then you're really paying attention to the answer. So I just wanted to really thank you for that, and it's really deep in that sense of being with the body and the aliveness of the body.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And that's it. That's my hope, that even if it's strange in the beginning of the week or a stranger way in, that it's a way of coming into relationship that can really serve. And it sounds like it has been a Dharma door for you.
Thank you. And could I just ask, so we've 1 minute, could I just ask a question? You mentioned something about a forgiveness practice. If you could you just speak about that a little bit, and perhaps give us some indications where we could find out more about that?
Yeah, so in case we get to 8 o'clock and I haven't done that, does everybody know about Dharma Seed? Can someone put that in the chat? dharmaseed.org, where you can listen to Dharma talks from many, many, many teachers. And you could search forgiveness meditation and you would probably find a helpful one there. But if I don't get to say enough about it, the premise is threefold. It's asking for forgiveness for the ways I may have hurt others. Number one, for the ways I may have hurt myself. Number two, and for the ways others may have hurt me. You don't force it. It has a pacing. You don't just go in with the head. You go in with the whole emotional sensitivity. So you're not doing a premature forgiveness. That kind of like, oh, I should forgive, or not that at all. But you're not neither just leaning on the habitual no that many of us have. The habitual, I'm not going to forgive. And sensitively with your heart, your body, and your mind, we go through 3 categories. And the phrase is standard. And you let the words, let them be taste right through you. And they are: for the ways I may have harmed or hurt you, intentionally or unintentionally, through actions of my body, speech, or mind, I ask now for your forgiveness. And you linger with the image or sense of that other, right? And wait for the resonances. And a little bit like within this, there may be pain or distress, but can that be caught in the stream of Dhamma? Can that be caught with the mindfulness, with the body, with the royal ease, with the compassion, and worked? If we tighten around it, we know it's a little premature, right? So we work, it's almost like learning our instrument. We don't push ourselves further than we are, like playing, pieces we're not ready for, but we also practice. So we can practice with those forgiveness phrases to other, to self, from self to self, from self to other, and ask from other to self. And you'll find those in many talks on Dharma Seed around forgiveness. There'll be phrases that are used quite a lot. And I find it really, really helpful. It really can kind of prime the heart. You know, if we're just doing them from our head, it's fine, but it can really engage the heart as well. That frees up some of that territory that gets tangled up with, you know, like, oh, how do I go forward with this when I did that thing or they did that thing? Or, yeah. And we don't just do it once, we can do it again and again and again. Hope that helps, Chris.
Yes, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, check it out on Dharma Seed. Okay, Sangha, please write your comments in the chat and George will send them to me and I'll stay on for a few more minutes too. George, thank you. And everyone at Sangha Live for keeping this going over these years. What a great thing. What a great offering every morning. And Sangha for your practice.
Oops. Yes, I've moved this to see you, and because I just wanted to thank you and thank everyone here, and sorry for all this tech issues we're still going through. There's a lot of things going on in the chat. Mostly thanking you, Catherine, for your teachings, and mostly asking you to come back. Mostly asking you to come back. So I will copy all of this and send it to you. And if maybe there's something you would like to respond to, then you can just send it back to me and I will post it in the Sangha Life Connect and people can have it.
Thanks, George. Okay. And can I just check, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Oh, because I don't see any, it says my stream has ended, but obviously I'm still audible. So let's see if it's on that. Okay. I can't see anything now. So I not only don't have chat, I don't have the whole Sangha Live set up. I'm right on a limb here. Like,
but we can see you.
Okay.
We can see you.
All right. Great. So thank you. Thanks, George. Thanks, Sangha Live. Thank you, Sangha. Yeah. So much love. Be well.